Yes, sir. I'm just sharing it live, sir. Just
Sure,
okay.
sure. Yeah. Okay.
Good
43.
afternoon, students. For the second lovely session of SAP, we have Nagraj sir with us. Sir, right now I think we should wait for 5 to 10 minutes. Right now attendees are 40. Once it reaches 60, 70, we will start the class, sir.
Sure, Kunal. We'll do that. Yeah. Okay. So students, in the meantime, if you have any queries, please put it up in your Q&A section. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So I would have muted myself, but I'm very much available. Okay. Any questions, please feel free to ask. So we have 60 students. Let me take up, let me have a look at the Q&A section. Nothing, no questions for me. We'll wait for another couple of more minutes and we will start. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, students, we will start off. So I see no specific questions for me. All right. So don't worry. If you have any questions, please put it up. I will take it up at the appropriate time. All right. Now, so we were continuing on trying to understand how actually you carry out the process of your financial closure. Normally, it is called as a FCC, financial closure cockpit. All right. So here we have a list of uh, what do they call that? Activities which we sequence. So we sequence those activities just like we carry out one operation after the other operation in our manual closure. Yeah. So we create this FCC. This is your transaction code, or maybe you can also add an FCLO. Let me just check. Just hold on, students. CLOCO. So it is not FCLOCO, it's just CLOCO. You'll also see some tasks. So if at all somebody has created, you see the task. So what closes first? So this is your a very brief insight into how and what is a practical way of closing your books of accounts. CLOCO. I'll just correct my Excel sheet. All right. So we line up the activities. So once operation one gets over, your operation two takes up, operation two gets over, operation three takes over, right? You line up your activities to complete the. So we close the financial year, we close the asset accounting year. Okay, we carry out we knock out all the reconciliation factors. Now, most of it are actually automated. You don't have to sit down and actually manually reconcile. Clear? Automatically the process happens. Okay, because of the setup and the depreciation, the clearing deals. So it's all taken care of. Clear? Now let me go back to the incoming payments F dash 28. So we have seen what is a partial payment. Okay. Here he is talking about the partial receipt, but we have seen this process and we have also seen this in the customer. Yes, F-28 also we have seen. We have seen both the sides, partial payment as well as a partial receipt. Clear? Down payment. Students, we saw the process of your down payment as far as the vendor was concerned. When we made an advance payment, we saw the process. Does anybody want to have a look at it from the AR perspective also, from the accounts receivables? I really don't mind repeating the process as long as you genuinely want it. Okay. Same process. Here we receive the payment in advance. In the previous case where what we saw practically, we used to see the advance payment being made to a specific vendor. In this case, we are receiving the advance from the customer. That is the difference. Here again, we ensure that we as consultants, we ensure that we have the requisite reconciliation accounts in place so that the operations or the activities, they go on without any issues. Clear? So as you can see, we have already finished this. So in our flow, we have already finished this. So in the process of understanding the whole module or the sub module, we have already covered all this. Down payment procedure, okay? Alternative reconciliation account. This should not be a new concept for you. And again, you receive the money in advance and you sell the items, you raise an invoice, and in the clearing process, you clear your advance and your invoice. Okay. The down payment is posted and cleared with the invoice. Okay. So distinct steps. One is the request. You see, the down payment process can happen with or without the noted item. I hope you're already aware of what is a noted item. Yeah, which has no impact on your financials, right? And yeah, what more should I add? And the process of down payment happens, all right? And the further processes, they happen automatically. We have seen all this practically. See, another bank guarantee is a typical example of the monitoring customer open item transactions. So we know what is a open item invoice. We have seen the clearing also. Let me see if he wants to add some information. Manage incoming payments, whether you receive partially or completely. We have already seen this process. Correspondence. So one of the most important correspondences, what we saw in our AP and AR, your balance confirmation. And as far as the AR is concerned, the dunning. This constitutes one of the most, probably you may be having a huge content on the correspondence, but these is the things what we have discussed is one of the most important things or the one important features as far as the dunning or the correspondence is concerned. Clear? No questions. So is explaining the different, what is the general data portion of information. See, okay. So nothing new. The only thing is when you read, you should connect to what you have seen already in the system. That's the only challenge. So we have already known this company code data is specific to the financial account. Nothing new. So we know what in all does it include? Payment terms, your dunning, your house banks, all other informations they constitute the company code information of your vendor and your customer. So we have already finished all this. Yeah, now it's just for me to ensure that there is nothing, the correspondence creation process. Okay, so please go through these slides whenever you find time. But we have covered and we have seen the correspondence, the most important correspondence. Just go through this. Okay. Did we happen to see any kind of a program regarding the correspondence? Does anybody remember? Just take 1 or 2 minutes to recollect what program we saw during correspondence. First of all, what information did we ever try to achieve? What was that information? Regards your customers and vendors. Your F.17 and your F.18 payment confirmations, your balance confirmations. One of the most and one of the critical correspondences, which is a must as far as the your audit process is concerned. Yeah. So we saw that program. So it was there that we saw the program. So just go through this. Okay. And not everything is very important, but we have seen the most important of the correspondence. Students, today it's going to be just reading all this. Okay. Did we see the payment advice? Don't bother, I will tell you. I think we have seen this, but I didn't take you through the payment advices, I guess. So whatever gets generated, whatever output is directed to the printer is held in a pool called as a spool. One second, and the spool is retrieved by the transaction code SP02. I've already given the so we saw the SP02. See payment summary, payment advices. So this was related to the check generation, APP, or your F-58. Double click or click on this. Just click on this. It will take you to the output. Yeah. So this was the programs. We are printing through the check RFFOUS_C. So based on the nature of the payment methodology, what we are going to adopt, that program needs to be triggered. And we have already seen this. Yeah. So this is your payment. Just have a look at the payment summary, payment advice. See, Something very similar to a check. Page down. So 3,75,550 rupees. So along with the generation of the check, you also can trigger your payment summary and your payment advices. Where do you actually trigger? F110, you would have seen. Now, I'll pick up something which is successful. Payment proposal has been created. Payments have been posted. Payment proposal has been edited. Payments have been posted. Okay, I'll pick up the first one. Not a problem. See, did you see that RFF was underscore C? So whenever you want to have the payment summary or the payment advices, maintain variance. Can you see this? Print payment summary, print payment advices. Yeah, this is exactly where we generate the payment advices based on, see, I'm actually toggling around this particular program, RFFOUS underscore C. Okay, and to that I'm having my own attributes or my own parameters, maintain variance. Clear, students? That is the result. Since I've activated, I can also deactivate. Suppose I do not want the payment summary. I don't want the payment advice. I can deselect this. Absolutely not a problem. I can only print checks. Fair enough. It is not necessarily necessary that whatever options SAP has given me, I would want to make use of. Absolutely not. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to exit out without saving, so shouldn't make a difference. We just saw this. The payment, rather the payment summary, the payment advices. We just saw that. Yeah. Done. We have seen this process in detail. The same thing he is explaining. So this is the heart of your correspondence. The topic starts here and ends here with uh, your payment reminder. I mean, sorry, the balance confirmations and your done. Clear, students? One of the two topics which are very, very important and which we make use of it practically. Absolutely, there is no project without this. Configuration steps we have already seen. Clear, students? We have already seen this. Just keep going through the slides. Any questions for me? So the dunning area could be a new term for you. So this is typically we do it, say, in combination with the SD people, where they take a decision whether we need to done or do not done. Clear? Because they are the people who would have got into the understanding of the payment or of the sales with the customer. Let me just check if I have any questions. No questions for me, right? So did we see that dunning area? See this you will not see in the configuration, or rather you will not see it in the procedure itself, but you will see it in your additional information. Just hold on. I will show you. So you have a process of dunning procedure. Can you see this? Dunning groupings. Yeah. Basic settings, dunning areas, dunning keys. So through these components of the dunning, the entire process of dunning, we either can we decide whether to done for a particular customer or keep silent without sending any offending reminders to our elite customer. Clear, students? Understood the process? So you can define the dunning areas. See, this is always related to the dunning area, which is set up by the sales and distribution. Go back. Okay, let me just see what is that. Dunning keys. So some of the concepts which you may encounter. Here itself is a typical SAP definition. If we do not want to execute the dunning program for a specific company code, you can decide. A dunning block facility for special customers can also be configured. Configured in the sense, no major step, you can just block. For customers whom you find them as very, very important customers for you, you can go ahead and block them. Block them for dunning. Students, the reason as to why I'm taking you into all this is there is something called as a dispute management. So general, just go through this, okay? It's just your general reading. typical English. All right. So here we'll spend time to read because I think we have had enough of the practical side of SAP. Clear? Do you agree with me, students? So now we'll fall a little on the theory, and again, when you touch the asset accounting, again, it will be hard for practicals. Lots and lots of things to be understood there as far as asset accounting is concerned. Correct? Is there anything else for me to pitch in? So why I am doing this is in one go, we can finish off reading the slides also so that your burden reduces, and you can also have a feel of how actually things look like practically, not only theoretically. But we have already seen all these things practically also. Yeah. So all these are the extended uh, topics regards your customer. Please go through in your leisure. And as I said, do not try to understand the slides letter by letter. Do not. Okay. And most of the things I would have ensured that I would have definitely shown it to you on the SAP system, whatever is actually required to be shown. Even there, the configuration side would be highly the non-desirable, but still I have shown you because there you saw that regarding the dunning. So how long did I take to complete the whole topic? Maybe say from yesterday evening and today morning. I was just talking to you about only dunning, right? But so the practical side of understanding things is cut short when you're reading the theory. Yeah. How to create a dispute. Please go through this. Okay. So he says you need to create a dispute and right. Suppose you have an issue, how you raise a dispute. All self-explanatory. Once you are used to the SAP screens, most of the screens you can understand and most of the things you can do it on your own. But yes, experience is required. Yeah. So double click on the AR open item, which is disputed item or which is creating a conflict. Yeah. If you want, I will show it. That should not be a problem. All self-explanatory. Absolutely nothing new at all. So let us go through the slide. Anything else he wants to tell me? Double click on the AR opening, which is step 2. What is step 3? Okay, I'll do it parallelly for you people. I'll go to a customer open item. Just hold on, students. I'm simply following the steps. Whatever is given to you or whatever we are reading together, I'm just doing it on the SAP system. Nothing new, nothing different. Because at this point in time, I do understand probably you would require some help. It would be, I would be, I would not be fair. It would not be fair enough on my part to expect you to do this without. So I would go to the customer open items. That's what he is actually asked me to do. AR, some customer open item. Does he have a open item? I I hope he has a open item. Wonderful. He has plenty. Now let me assume that this particular invoice has a dispute. I need to raise a dispute. So what does he ask me to do? Double click. Additional data. Let me just check. I'll go back to step 2. Okay. This particular, I would select something. Let me assume that this is a problem. Click on the create dispute. Am I getting this screen? Yes, I'm getting that screen. More. Just hold on, students. I'm just trying to. Now let us see. Let us go ahead. See, here is create dispute. Check. See, he doesn't. He is not talking. Just hold on, students. Is there a create dispute out here? Individual correspondence. I don't know from where he is getting this create dispute case. Right? Is he in the same screen? Yeah, very much. Somewhere here. No problem. No problem. Absolutely not a problem. I go to the overview. Just hold on. I'm just going through the other. Okay, let me not waste time on this. No problem. Anyway, he has not even completed it. Let me just check. Dispute escalation closure is no different from how it is done in ECCC. Obviously, see, as I said, I have worked on various versions of SAP. Clear? So we have never seen a major shift, like say the total change in the concept itself. Conceptually, absolutely, there is no great changes at all. The base is remaining the same. Yeah, but obviously, to keep pace with the business requirements, SAP has changed the way it looks at some of the features. Okay, I had to move on. This is your lead to cash process, which we have already just touched upon, but we have not seen the process. Yeah. So this process will be taken up maybe in the last week from maybe say Tuesday or even on the last day, Wednesday. All self-explanatory. You can very well at your level. I have absolutely no doubt that you people are smart enough to understand all this, right? But yes, you had to understand the process for which I was responsible, how things are happening in the SAP system. But apart from that, from trying to understand the flow, I think you're all competent enough to understand this. We'll explain this. We will look into it. Ah, all very, very generic students. You can uh, simply read them. Okay. Customer account statement typically includes You can generate statements ad hoc or periodically. All are self-explanatory, dear students. Okay. This is exactly what I said. Your balance confirmations. You must provide a monthly account statement to your customer. Clear? Please go through very generic. This process is not new to you at all. Please feel free to stop me whenever you find something interesting. I'm actually spending time on just going through the slides and trying to identify if there are procedurally, is there something which I can actually help you out with? Seems to be nothing which we have already done. So that's why I didn't wait for this particular slides. I knew what needs to be done, and I have done it even before we get into the slides. Or now, understanding the slides could be very easy. So Dunning levels, maximum 9, minimum is 1. Dunning level interval in days, allocated accounts are to be done. Grace periods, additional days, right? Charges and interest, minimum amounts. I think you all know them by now. Let us see how graphically he wants to represent this process. Let's understand. Anything new, students? Absolutely nothing, right? Whatever we have seen in the system already. Foreign currency valuation also we have seen. Okay. Now let us see if he tries to add something else. Did we see all this? We in fact saw more than this. We saw the open items, we saw the customer items, we saw the vendor items. So he's just talking about the program, but is he referring to that program, FAGL? Should I refer to the program also, right? try to understand this process. Some processes are basically this thing is for you to read and come back to me with any issues. This is typically called as your IVA, individual value adjustments. Have you already seen the special gear indicator? So what is the FAGL underscore FCV is a program what he was referring to when we spoke about the foreign currency valuation. Okay. Could I show you the, just give me a minute. I will show you what is the output also. I remember having done this maybe say couple of months ago, maybe 3-4 months ago. I give that date and try to. So now we are getting into a very critical thing called as your asset accounting. Clear? Probably, okay. Let me start after we take a break. But even before that, I wanted to tell you how exactly the FA, the foreign currency valuation is happening. I think I did it in the month of May, I guess. Okay. My intention is to just show you the output. So let me have the execute test run. Oh, 31st of October. Yeah. Select at least one. Okay. Subledger value doing this. Did I give any? I think it was Zen. Anyway, I'm executing this in the test mode, so it doesn't post any entries. I just wanted to show you the output. But for that, due to the output needs to be due to the generation. Is the system trying to tell me something? Okay. Have I entered any transaction as foreign currency? That is a problem. I don't remember having transacted with any vendor. Okay, I can have a range, right? How should that stop me? Six, three, five, five. Just hold on, students. 6, 3, 6, 3, 6, 5, 6, 3, 5, 5. Six, 3, 5, 5. I was just trying to pull up a, I remember having done it. Okay, I can give a range, right? 636.2, 6.0. Execute. I think I could have included 6355 also. See, 6385 and 6390. These are the only two vendors for which I have the foreign currency valuation. Can you see that? Exchange rate, old difference. This is output. So this tells you what am I actually, am I making a profit or a loss? Do I have any two postings? 6385 amount in foreign currency, revaluation 85. So it is compared. Can you see this? 600 USD, 56,500 in Indian rupees. New difference. It was absolutely, there was no change. See, I ended up making a loss. Is it a loss? Yeah. 80,000, revaluation 85. No. So this is how it indicates. In the US currency, so this is how your, this is a program. This is the output for your, you can see the messages also, no error messages. Let me just check. No messages, this is already in the green color. So here the plus or the minus 500 indicates what is the nature of your transactions. What is the final result? Is it a profit or is it a loss? Okay, Kunal, can we just hold on? If I can see any question, I will just pick it up.
I think, sir, we should take a break for 10 minutes. By 3 or 2, we should join.
Sure. So by 3:30, we'll meet. Okay.
Yes, sir. I think we can start the class, sir.
I know, Kunal, I know.
Sir, you just carry on with your class. I'm going for
Exactly,
two
that's what
minutes.
I'll do. That's what I'll do.
Sir, okay, sir.
Come, right? Okay. Now, any questions? No questions for me. Okay. Yeah. So let's get back to our slides. Let's get back to, so we are slowly getting introduced to another concept, which is called as asset accounting. Yeah, quite a vast topic. Maybe you may get introduced to a lot of new terms as far as the asset accounting is concerned. Clear? Let us take the help of the slides first. Maintain asset master records and execute asset transactions, execute asset accounting, period end activities. Clear? The first and the foremost is your, we'll talk about. So just like our financial accounting or our journal voucher or any financial transaction, it started with us creating a basic entity called the company code. And the next important master record, what we created was the chart of accounts. So every activity we started, it had to have the connecting master data. Yeah. So when we started our uh, customer or vendor, so what did we create first? We created the master data, the vendor master data, the customer master data. Then we started transacting. The same thing applies to your asset accounting also. So the first and the foremost is, so now we are shifting to a totally new topic. Okay. Now your asset master. First and the foremost is your asset master data. So even before we get into the SAP concepts, even without SAP, what would you think would be the, uh, should I call it as the asset life cycle? Yeah, appropriate word. What do you think would be the asset life cycle? Not exactly SAP, because this asset life cycle was existing even before SAP had even started. So even before we start talking about the asset master, we will discuss the asset life cycle, which constitutes your asset acquisition, asset depreciation, asset revaluation, asset scrapping. So this happens with or even without SAP. Obviously, see, whenever you want to So this is the life cycle. First, you need to procure the asset. Then you use that asset for your production activities or whatever it is. We have the process of asset depreciation. You have the concept of asset revaluation. And finally, at the end of the life cycle of an asset, we have either the scrapping of the asset or resale of the asset. Yeah. Now, what is the asset acquisition? Now, in SAP, even before we ever start transacting on the asset, we have to build the asset master data. Yeah. So we have a concept called as your asset master data. So this typically, and here, please make sure, or please be very, very sure that we are talking only and only about the fixed assets. We are not talking about the current assets. Clear? Because you have different ways of dealing with your cash, your bank, your inventory, which are your current assets. Okay, so here we are going to deal only and only with the fixed assets. So whenever, let me assume that your company is into, or my organization is into manufacturing a product. So for manufacturing a product, you require the plant and machinery. You are buying some machinery, huge machinery. Now, and you are supposed to make use of that asset. Clear? So even before you try to buy that plant and machinery, how would you bring that plant and machinery into your SAP system? You would have to, just like you had to create a vendor in your SAP system or your customer or your general ledger account. Similarly, you will have to create that requisite master data for that particular asset in your SAP system. And here again, we have the concept of classifying our assets based on the nature of the asset. Just like you had import and export, your local vendors and your local customers. Similarly, you have the concept of classifying your assets into that specific nature. Plant and machinery, land and building, vehicles, fixtures and fittings. Right? Apart from this, you can have any number of classification based on the requirement. Okay, now, so basically your asset master contains something called as your asset classes. Asset class or asset classes. So just like you had your KRED, KUNE, you're able to recollect what they are, your standard vendor and your standard customer groups. Clear? Now, here again, SAP has provided you with the standard asset classes. Plant and machinery, land and building, fixtures and fittings, vehicles. So if you want to further classify, you can have any kind of a classification. You have a very important thing called as your assets under construction, low value assets. We call it as LVA. low value assets. So what are these low value assets? Now let me start from the bottom. Low value assets are those where they do definitely form a part of the asset, but of a value which doesn't qualify them to be a major asset in the sense. Now I have a laptop. Suppose I want to buy a connector, a adapter. Probably that's going to cost me around 750 rupees or something. Now, what happens? Though it is forming a part or a very integral part of my laptop, what I do is I classify this particular asset since it is not qualifying the minimum value. I think now I don't know. You people should tell me. Uh, I think assets less than 5,000 rupees or something, they can be capitalized in the year of purchase itself. Is it 5,000 or 10,000? I'm not very sure about it. So any asset or any part of an asset which qualifies to be a LVA, they are classified into separate asset class. So we have a inbuilt asset class called as a low value assets. Similarly, you also have a very important concept called as your assets under construction. What do we mean by assets under construction? The main asset is still not complete. And basically the understanding is the main asset may also not be complete in one financial year. This may take more than one financial year. What could be a typical example of that? AUC. Can somebody tell me? Let me check if I already have some questions. I'll give you 2 minutes so that you can think of what could be a typical example for your AUC. Again, students, I am not expecting this answer from the SAP perspective. No, not at all. Simply think of any kind of a business which you may categorize them as AUC. You can go wrong, absolutely. I'm more interested in the attempt. I'm not interested whether the answer is right, the answer is wrong, nothing. Here we are here basically to understand the concepts. Clear? So there is absolutely nothing wrong, even if you alter. No problem. I'll give you 1 minute. Just think over it. I'll join you quickly. Give you 1 minute. Just think over it. Non-SAP. It is a wonderful clue for you. An asset which you think could be an asset under construction with or without SAP. Partly completed bridge. All right. Okay. A better example. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm never saying it's wrong. Your typical apartment. Let me assume that I'm a builder and I'm constructing a maybe say 100 flat apartment. So will that apartment be completed in one financial year? Let me assume that I start the construction by December 1st, 2025. And I'm closing the books of accounts on 31st of March 2026. So will the project get over on the last day of this financial? No. So I would be having a due date of say, let me assume that I would take 2 years to complete, or maybe say 1.5 years, 1.5 years, okay, to complete this project. Now, till then, till that point in time, what happens? I may be buying so many equipments required for me to complete that apartment. Like say it could be your steel rods, your cement, your jelly, concrete, whatever, whatever it could, your window frames, aluminium, whatever. So now if I account then and there, suppose I do not have the concept of AUC. Okay. Now, how do I, at the end of the 2 years, or maybe say at the end of the construction, how will I get to know, or how will the system know what is the total expenditure for this particular project? So here what I do is I keep accumulating all these costs, all my expenditure in one particular entity. I will just also introduce you to another term called as, don't ask me what it is now. It is really not required, students. Okay, it is a part of your CO module. But practically, why I brought about this concept was practically this is the concept which we use whenever the implementing partner comes out with this concept of AUC. So the way we treat AUC is through something called as internal orders, which is an integral part of your costing module. Clear, students? Now, so I keep accumulating all the costs on this temporary cost bucket, temporary cost collector. Clear? So after this, what I do at the end, at the fag end of the completion of the project, what I do, I analyze this internal order and arrive at a specific figure that this is my total expenditure for my project. Now, at the end of this, what would I do? I would now construct the 100 flat apartment as an asset in my SAP system and push all the components of this internal order to that finally built asset. So now I have an owner department which is ready to take up this cost. Till now, it was not in the system. This apartment was an unknown entity. Now, after having completed the whole activity, now I have an asset which I can bring it into my SAP system. Understood, students? So this particular internal order, I would transfer, I would pick it up and transfer it. This process is called as a settlement. Typical CO module terms, which I'm already exposing you to, so that I indirectly I am also exposing you to the CO module with a few terms here and there, not with a complete setup of the CO module, which may not be possible, but a bits and pieces of the CO module also. So the way you transfer to the final asset, the process is called as the settlement. Clear? This is your AUC in short, simple and short. So now we are already, these are all self-explanatory. Now you have a concept of, now when it comes to depreciation. So here again, we have the thing of procuring the asset. So you create the asset master using the specific asset class. Through the asset class, what are you doing? You're categorizing the nature of the asset. And you're making use of this asset class to complete the asset master. So once you have the asset master, now you are ready to buy it from the vendor. Yeah. Now, so you buy, this is one of the methodologies, external acquisition, purchase from a vendor. This is the concept. Clear? Now, so whenever you buy the asset, for example, in our case, it's the plant and machinery. So once you buy the plant and machinery, you classify that in P&L category. So according to the company's law, you have a certain rate of depreciation, which is actually which the asset is to be subjected to. Correct? Now, why do you depreciate? Why do you depreciate the asset? Companies require, legal require. Fair enough. Apart from that, any thoughts? You can give me your answers. My question was, why would, except for the reason of being a legal requirement, what other reason would you provide as to why you have to depreciate the asset? As I said, dear students, you can go wrong. Absolutely not a problem. I don't expect you to give me the right answers. Why do you depreciate your asset? All these are theoretical, means the asset is put to use, it will deteriorate in value. That's why you need to depreciate. All these are theoretical. Tell me the practical reasons. What other information do you get out of depreciation? Very simple. This is not SAP specific at all. Again, that's why I always tell you, please do not approach the subject strictly from the SAP perspective. No, not at all. Put in your general thoughts. What would be the other important contribution to, or rather contribution of the depreciation? What other valuable information can you draw from depreciation? I'll give you 2 moments. Just think over it. No thoughts? Few more seconds and I will share my thoughts. You're most welcome to tell me the answers. Okay. Now, let me assume my organization is producing a product. All right. It undergoes various processes. It is making use of various machinery. Okay. Now, how do I fix the selling price of the product? Okay, let me assume that I fix it at 100 rupees. I think somebody has given a real estate. Real estate? I mean, I didn't understand this answer. Yeah, I told you the apartment, right? Is it for the AUC? Okay, take your time. So now if I want to sell the product at 100 rupees, how do I fix that 100 rupees? What are the components of that 100 rupees? Direct material, indirect overheads, whatever. So what is depreciation then? You are spending the machinery to produce that product. So you are supposed to involve the depreciation also, because the machinery would have spent its life to produce that product. So let me assume that 1 lakh pieces can be produced in a span of say 3 years or 4 years, or maybe even say 5 years. So along those 5 years, don't I have to spread the cost of this depreciation to each one of the 1 lakh products, so that that cost is also inclusive in that product? So doesn't this help me? Doesn't this help my management to decide the selling price? So like this, apart from your legal requirement, you may also have various other requirements from where you are viewing this particular concept of depreciation for your IT purposes, for your costing purposes, for your book depreciation, for your legal purposes. So like this, you have a number of reasons where you actually depreciate. So the reasons for which you depreciate, they are referred to as your depreciation areas in SAP. So this is the first and the foremost of the new terms which you will pick up, especially in your and only in your asset account, not especially, only in asset accounting. Clear, students? Here, there are various other things also. Slowly, I'll expose you to this. Now, even before, so even once we created the company code, if we try to enter a financial transaction, would the company code accept? What is the next prerequisite? So understand the flow, students. Understand the flow. Now I have created a company code. To recover the cost, absolutely correct. To recover the cost of the asset from the product, absolutely correct. Now, okay, what was the question that I asked? It just slipped out of my mind. Okay, not a problem. Now, what were we talking about? Depreciation areas. Okay, so my question was, I have a company code. Can I immediately start recording the transactions? You heard my question, students. I have a company code. So is this enough for me to start transacting or entering transactions in that company? If yes, okay. If no, what is the other requirement? This is exactly what I said, students. Understand the flow. Understand the flow, one after the other. Have I not organized my Excel sheet in the same way? If you have observed my Excel sheet, I have put down each and every point, one after the other in a sequence. We spoke about something called as a chart of accounts. So with the company code and the chart of accounts, we had the entries being made possible. Similarly, we have a concept called as your chart of depreciation. This chart of depreciation sets down the rules for accounting of the depreciation. Yeah. So it is not the set of the general ledger accounts, anything of that kind. And just like what was the standard operational chart of accounts in our company code? or rather in the standard SAP system, it was INT. So as far as the standard chart of depreciation is concerned, we have, you have 0 DE or 1 DE. Just like your INT, your standard charts of depreciation are identified by 0 DE or 1 DE. And the only methodology we can use to create our own chart of depreciation is copy from the existing. So just like your INT, you may also find, or rather you will definitely find any one of the standard charts of depreciation available in the system. So keeping this as the base, you copy the content to your own chart of depreciation, and obviously you assign it to your company code. Clear, students? Understood? Any questions? No questions. Also, I'll proceed. So, did you understand this chart of depreciation? So it is, we create a chart of depreciation, our own chart of depreciation, by using this particular copy. We copy the standard chart of depreciation to our own chart of depreciation and copy. So what does this chart of depreciation contain? This contains the depreciation areas. I'm not going to show you anything practically as of today because we have hardly 10 more minutes left. Okay, so tomorrow I'll have a recap of all the asset accounting and probably the other topics which we touched and proceed with the practical side of your asset accounting. Yeah. Now, coming back to our discussion. So this particular chart of depreciation has got the depreciation areas. It is up to us in the sense, up to the consultants to understand the business and keep only those areas of depreciation which are actually required by the business. And all other depreciation areas he may retain or he may delete. He may also make the unwanted depreciation areas inactive. Just remember all these lines. You can deactivate the depreciation area. You can delete the depreciation area. Under what circumstances you do both, we will talk about. Okay. Normally, my practice is I do not delete. I simply deactivate. Okay. So I do not have the habit of deleting any data. Okay. You just reminded me of one of the most important topics. Students, sorry, I am deviating. I'll just make a note of this concept reversal. All right, because I had made a statement earlier saying that none of the data can be deleted in SAP. So what is the only other alternative for maybe you would have erred in making an entry? You would have debited the wrong GL, credited the wrong GL, and you would have posted. So what is the only or other alternative? You'll have to reverse that particular transaction. You cannot delete that because SAP has already generated a document number. And the same document number cannot repeat, or rather will not repeat for that particular financial year. Yeah. Coming back to our why I made a note of it. Suddenly I remembered this particular and probably your financial statement versions. Okay. I have made a note of this. I will tell you what they are. Now, so it is possible for the consultant to deactivate or even the end user. He can retain whatever depreciation areas he wants and the other depreciation areas he may delete. Clear, students? Any questions? Any questions, students? Any topic, any topic. Okay. Okay. Do I see a question? Yeah. Perfect. Wonderful. Now, so we have gone through some of the concepts, and once you create your own chart of depreciation, you obviously assign it to your company code. So you're establishing the relationship between your company code and your chart of depreciation. Now, after this, we are left out with so many other concepts as far as the asset accounting is concerned. And as far as the major, you talk about the ECC asset accounting and the HANA asset accounting, they differ. Right? Not to a, as I said, see, the difference doesn't lie in you understanding the concepts. It never is related to the basic concepts, what is driving a sale. The concepts are remaining the same. Okay? But it's only from the operational perspective that there are a few changes as far as this topic is concerned when you're talking about ECC and HANA. Yeah. Now, let me see what else is there in the slide. Managing, monitoring fixed assets. As I said, we are going to deal only with FA, subsidiary ledger. Even your AR and AP served as a subsidiary ledger. Yeah. Integration asset accounting down directly. Now, okay. For example, it is possible to post from the component directly to your asset accounting. What do you understand? So that means to say your material management or your purchase may also get involved in the asset accounting process. Now, is procuring the raw materials and procuring the asset, is it the same? Obviously, no. So how do you differentiate that you are procuring an asset at the level? So you remember we spoke about thing about the purchase order. Just hold on, students. Just give me 1 minute. I log into SAP. I will tell you the whole meaning of that particular line and stop. So if you are purchasing the asset through the FIMM route, how will you differentiate? How will you identify? There has to be some clear indicator, right? So the indication, the clear indicator starts at your purchase order level itself. ME21N. So in your purchase order, you are mentioning this. Can you see? A stands for asset. Account assignment category. So this categorizes whether it's a normal raw material purchase or whatever material you are purchasing. Clear? Is it that material, or if you say it is A, that means to say through this vendor, through this PO and purchasing the asset. So your differentiation, the whole meaning of that statement lies in this particular indicator. Clear, students? So we have stopped at 452. All right. So Kunal, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Just a sec. Let me just check if the. Thank you. Thank you. So Kunal will wind up today's session and meet up tomorrow.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, students, and thank you, sir, for a lovely SAP session.
Thank you.
Again, we will meet you by tomorrow at same time, 11 to 1, and second session 2 to 4. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye.